What is up, YouTube world? You know if you're gonna see what I'm gonna show next. Watching good friend Brad right now. You know, if you just saw mail day, probably isn't gonna be one too soon, but I've got one and I'm trying to sort of get this set up. It's sort of impromptu. So while I'm doing this tonight, 8 p.m. Central Time on the Because I'm Carlos YouTube channel, I'll be on there. Carlos and I will be pontificating the importance and the nuances of the 90s insert market. We'll be specifying a couple brands, but I've got this to show, and I want to show because I'm nervous as fuck because I know what's in here. So I'll show off a few mailings that I got. 97 Pinnacle certified mirror blue of Slim Pickens. Like I said, him and Herman Moore, I'm gonna look at picking their stuff up if it's like ridiculously cheap. So to get that for I think $2.50, I'll take it. This is I think 10 shipped. 2014 chrome. 9 of 10 the gold refractor. Chase Amaro. I think I left the old stand upstairs, so that's why I'm holding it. Another StarQuest Gold, and this was the football variation they had that year. I think the veterans had that, and then on the back it was just gibberish, but this is the Series 2 StarQuest Rookie Quest, and with Skip Hicks, who I thought was going to do a little better than he did, and didn't. Go to UCLA. I think I got that for like $9 plus shipping. It's like, that's fine. Again, just like you want to get something in hand if you can swing it, just to see if again and again and again and again and again. If you like it, if you can tolerate it, maybe you'll be completely blown away. Either way, maybe you'll be like, ah, shit, that is not even close to what I thought it'd be. Or you'll be like, wow, that shines. So I think I had seen on Instagram Jimmy Cardboard Adventures post a bunch of these, and again, it was, I won't even say on the list, but it was on something I wanted to get, but I'd forgotten until he had posted the odds, how tough they were to pull. And well, okay, it doesn't jump anywhere, but like, let me take a peek, put one on the watch list. And what was nice was that as soon as I did, within an hour, there was a 50% off offer, so it went from $8 to $4. I said, okay, that's a winner. So I hammered that thing, even though there's a make counter offer. I'm like, nah, that's one where I'm just gonna hit it. Because again, so it was eventually on the radar. It probably would have been 91 on my list, but it would have made the list. And then 2 from Canada. I was hoping to work more deals with this guy, but he did not have the make counter offer on anything else except these 2. So I was able to work a deal in this. The UD MVP Stanley Cup edition, I think 99-2000. See the book value 80, doesn't matter there. It's the gold script. I like to get the super, that's one of the higher priority ones from all the super scripts. Until it's a game against somebody that's very, very important, and it's probably a preseason game in Senegal, maybe, if you look at how many fans are in the stands there in the back of the on the card there. And that you see is number 60, I think 9 out of 100. And then this one, I think all the differentiating factors of these are on the logo, because I've got a couple different ones, and there's really no difference in the foil. It looks like a little more poppage for me, but the silver on there, it's called Heads Up Silver. And it's 27. So I think I got that for like 40. So I'll take that every day of the week and 4 times on Sunday. Super nice. Just, I love it. I love those Pacific cards. I'm a very big Pacific champion. I'm going to do this sort of in a hodgepodge, oddball style way, because I'm very nervous about that damage. Make friends. I'm gonna maybe be putting a play in a moment. It looks clean. So that's a very huge sigh of relief on my part, because it is one of my top 10 wands. So that's 3 knocked out this year so far. And that's good, obviously. This is the one, I will say, it didn't elude me. I found it, and these were some of the first ones I had remembered rolling back into the 90s stuff. I mean, you know, Pinnacle Masks, that's always going to be something that's, if you collect it as anybody did in the 90s and you did hockey, even some of the non-hockey folks, I'm getting masks where that transcendent of an insert, where it's just like, okay, something that's very noticeable, obviously, is going to be the goalie. What's on the goalie's head? Their mask. It's obviously something you can put a lot of detail in, or just not have any detail. So, cooler the mask looks and the better you play, the more attention you're going to get. So, but these cards, I remember never even seeing one back 95, 96, and through probably 98, 99, 2000, 2001, right in that area when I stopped not collecting hockey altogether. Because again, even if we go back in some of my earlier videos, I picked up this stuff, just not in quantity like I do now. So I have those friends right there, and to have this safe, there's some very, very minor chipping on the side, very, very minor. I've seen one copy of this particular version of the card. I've seen plenty of the other version, and I'm always tempted, even with those, to like look and pick them up, because I love these cards so much. I'd like to do the set. At the same time, I know that's going to be funds away from cards I really want. And yes, I probably should have taken those out of the thing there, so they're not that hockey whatever white sticker isn't there. But anyway, I digress. The one copy I saw of this was the seller in the Czech Republic had one back in June. I think his initial offer, or not the initial offering, the initial offering I came upon with his Brodeur collection. I was super excited to see that because I knew how obviously rare these were. They're case hit, and if you watch, I like the case hit cards. Because they are rare. Most of the time, there's some fanciness to them. But it's just something, again, as a kid, you always were like, man, I want the case hit. I want the big pull. You'd look at the odds in the back. You'd see the 1 in 360. You'd see the 1 in 720, the 1 in 721 for the Kramer's Choice. You would see all these cards and just be like mesmerized and like, wow. You don't see them. These aren't like everyday, like a Topps refractor back there, a Topps Chrome refractor, or something, like a Topps Gold. Even like the black gold, you're like, whatever. But to see a case hit card or one of those 1, 2 per case, 4 per case, I mean, you're like, wow. So seeing that, the Czech Republic guy had it. And it started at 60. I'm okay. We're in the ballpark of what I'd pay. But then seeing it, and then okay, like with a day left, I'm like, I really need to take a peek at this. I want to see what it's about. And I look at the photo, and then I look at the back, and okay, there's the usual little chipping. There's a lot of chipping with these. And then you look at the front, I'm like, ooh, look nice. I like. And then I look at the bottom left, and there's a big scratch. So I was just like, oh my god, I'm not gonna pay $60+ for a placeholder. I want the card badly, but I do not want it that badly. So I waited. I passed, and I went for 64. And I've been upset since. Logic won out. There's one other card that I can put in this category, which is the Donruss limited exposure Star Factor. 25 copies, like the Adam Oates that I had got in the last video. I wanted the Brodeur. Somebody had it up for like a $60 buy it now, and I'm like, oh, hit it, and I'm like, okay, hold on, there's something wrong with this. You obviously something's going on, because this should be like a $200 card, 150, 200, whatever, and somewhere in that range, maybe a little less, who knows. And I looked, and there was like a huge like chip in it. Not a Panini chip, because this was back when Donruss still was around. Donruss playoff, or DLP, Donruss Leaf playoff. And I couldn't believe it. I'm just like, shit. Because for a placeholder, I don't want to spend that much. No matter what the card is, I just don't want to spend that much for something, or even more. That's why I didn't get the StarQuest Gold that had all that damage. Because it sold for $250. I would have probably paid $60 for that. Maybe $100 if you really sweeten the pot, but no. Those are funds you can dedicate to the actual card if it pops. If it doesn't, it's always gonna be something to buy. Don't ever let somebody say there isn't anything out there in the market to buy, because there is. But anyway, back to the story. So $64 it goes for, and it's one of my saved searches. I'll look it up even if it doesn't. You don't have the. I'll look it up constantly because it's one of my favorite cards. I even bought, I think the Mike Richter from the year before, knowing it was a box hit, 1 in 36 packs, as these were as well. This version is not. This is the case hit. The box hit, I love the box hit from the year before, and they look better, but they're criminally cheap, and the checklist isn't as strong. So, with all that rambling, all 8 minutes or whatever of rambling, you got to see the packaging. It came out fine. Um, I think it's a nice mail day. Those three alone that's solid. That's a solid mail day right there, to me. And the other stuff I showed. But this one takes the cake. 1995-96 out of Fleer Ultra. And the placement, I love how they changed the placement of this. Because that logo's up here on the regular card, the Fleer Ultra. You gotta put it down there, or you're gonna just tear apart that die cut region. I hate to move those friends out of the way, but they've had their time to shine, literally. I know I'll have an Instagram post at some point, so. But the Premier Padman Gold Medallion. Of Martin Brodeur. And the only way, the only reason I came across this, it wasn't up for auction. It was on eBay. It was not a singular auction. Somebody had a lot, and I check them every so often, not as much as I should. Had a lot of Brodeurs. And so I usually just go from highest price to lowest, just in case. And this was you know what? I haven't looked in there. It showed like 11 pictures. I'm like, I'll take a peek. And one of the first pictures, it was that friend. And I said, oh, snap, crackle, pop. Because at this, when you see these things, you think, okay, is the seller going to break up the lot, or are they just jonesing to get the money? And thankfully, he's just like, yeah. I offered strong. Not much more than the scratched version went for, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, that at least gets the attention that the seller knows I am serious about purchasing this card. So he's like, yeah. I offered, I think, 75, and he took it and had to pay 5 or whatever shipping and then fees, so it came to about 86, but 22 more than the scratched version. It wasn't just like a scratch where specific StarQuest Golds of players that moved from one state to another and won Stanley Cups, well, at least one later on. Where in the light it doesn't, you can see it in the light in specific angles, but this doesn't have that scratch. That scratch is right below the top, the shaft part of the stick right there. So happy. Make this longer. Happy, super happy. But I think that was it's in the top 5 or 6 of my wants. So I've got basically within 6 weeks of 2021, I've got 3 of my top 6 wants knocked off. And I know in my goals list I wanted to save to hit half of my top 10 would be great. So, again, basically anywhere from here on out, I'm good. This year's been very good. Like Sammy So said, the card market been very, very good to me. So, there it is, YouTube. A lengthy video, but a good one. A good one with a happy ending. That's what she said. Take her easy. And remember, tonight, you're bored, you want to hear a little hockey insert talk, jibber jabber, some reminiscing, some speculative talks. Hop on over to the YouTube channel Because I'm Carlos at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, and be amazed, be wowed, be flabbergasted that two individuals can contain this much knowledge.